MEP. All right, now we do call to order. Yeah, which we never have. I think once we did. Discussion items, not necessarily active agenda, presentation on civic optimize.
Hey,
Hey.
Are you
Thank
ready to
you.
share?
yeah, that'd be great. Thanks, Nikki. So I'm Dustin Spooner, Information Systems and Security Director for the City of Lewiston. And, I haven't even presented this necessarily to our leadership team. I've talked about it a little bit, so you're the first.
Ooh.
That's how new it is though, so, I'll do what I can to inform you. I just threw this slideshow together really quick with what we had so far. Right here is just kind of a timeline, and a general stage of kind of how we thought it would go. We're new to the product, like I said. We just went through some training. We're doing a little bit of testing, I think, with some parks stuff, but for the most part, this is kind of really new. And so I'll kind of just jump into so you can get an idea. So there's a web app. It's not a application like from an app store, but you go to a web page and it'd be formatted for your phone.
Which web page?
We would assign it a web page. We're not sure what we're calling it yet. Citizen reporting, something like that. It'll be off the city's website. And then from there, what we will do is we'll build out. You would have different icons here, and they'll kind of go down depending on what you're reporting. We just did one as a placeholder. We decided, oh, we'll try one on streets and sidewalks. But when you push this, you can add it to your phone's home screen. So it looks like an app on your phone, but it's actually not from the Google store or the Apple store. It's just a little icon that will take you directly back to that. What's nice about it is there's no updating, like if the apps are outdated or something changed. You just go to that app and it's always updated. So, and we're saving a lot of money by doing that. So the next screen, so if you hit that app or that icon, it would take you to something like this, and this would be the first section. Really easy to use, just name, email address, and this is pretty much how we communicate with you through email. It's not like an app where you go back to the app and everything you submit is in there. We're going to be communicating with you through email or phone number. So name, address, phone number if you need it, and then a description of the issue. That takes you to the next page right here where we can build this out, but for the most part, you have
Well, it says that Eric has joined the meeting, but I don't think he's on that, but it's what I heard.
So at this point, it would locate where you are in the city, and then you could open your camera up and take a picture of the problem. And then it'll attach how many ever the pictures or some optional attachment that maybe you have a document and you wanted to attach that. So all of that would be included. Of course, we have to do the caption, make sure that we're not getting thousands of submissions. But for the most part, we would get your location in the city. You could have a picture of the sidewalk or the street, the problem. Everything's identified. Very simple, streamlined. He lost me there.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry.
You want me to?
Click the screen. There, that's good. And then this is what you'll get when you submit a form. It will go into our internal workflow, and then get to the proper department. And then we can monitor that on the back end, where it went, what time it got there, who's responsible, where the holdup is. The main thing is here, as we come to this group, we just have to determine what we want the workflow to be. Like, what's the problem that you most commonly see, and how do we get it to the right department? And then we want to make sure, that it's tracked. We don't just want these things to sit in a queue forever. So we're developing internal policies to say, this is a sidewalk issue, it goes to someone maybe in Public Works. And then how long does it sit there before it goes to the next person? What's the workflow look like? So these are the things we're just building out. You know, like I said, this is all new to us. But I think it's so easy to develop the form, that I think we can get something out quickly. We just want to make sure we support it. And so I just kind of threw this in on the back end. This is kind of what we will see on our side, is something like this. And this is just off their website. But like, you would see some trends, so we could trend. We have some tools available at that point. I think the goal was to get something out that was fiscally responsible, but see what the adoption is, and then maybe down the road, 2-3 years, if we need a more powerful tool, we look at that. But for the most part, we can roll this out fast, get it in the hands of the people that make the changes or that make the difference, and then now we have something. And then I just threw in a Civic Plus accessibility statement. And I can give you all a copy of the slideshow, it's fine, but they do, we are in the middle of updating our website and in all the new accessibility options are.
Have you tried to join and you're not able to?
Sorry about this. No, that's right. So for the most part, that's kind of the short and skinny of how the Civic Optimize works.
Yeah,
It's
cause I don't
funded
see you
through
reading.
our IT department. Oh, I can hold off it.
Okay, sorry. He's not, but I got an email that you joined, but I don't see him in the waiting room. He thinks he's in the waiting room. So I'm not,
There a chance there were two different things on.
there's just one link.
Yeah.
Sometimes I like to accidentally go to the one previous
Right.
one.
Yeah.
I sent him an invite.
Well, while we're waiting,
Sorry.
anyone have any questions on that, or want to review any of those slides that I had brought up?
Ironically, I think it's gonna be Eric that has majority of the questions
Yeah.
now.
Right.
And how I'm Carol Mauer, I'm the public information officer for the city, and so I'll be facilitating outreach related to this effort, and I'm working on how it will appear on the website. And so as Director Spooner mentioned, we are working on a redesign of the website and how this can best fit into the homepage, make it easy to find, easy to understand, and for folks to use. So we'll come back to you guys too with some more visuals of what that will look like, and how we're implementing that into the community.
So off the main website page, do you plan to have like a link to this of some sort?
Yeah, I would imagine that they would have a very
Yes.
big portion of the main website.
Yeah, so our plan is to make it even more than a link, it would be a button.
Yeah.
For at the moment, the language we're talking about is reporting an issue, the report an issue, right? Because that's really what these are. It could be something from a pothole that somebody's wanting to report to Public Works, if they want that repaired. It could be something like sidewalk is crumbling, so somebody on their wheelchair or a bike or walking or whatever, can't easily access that sidewalk and commute that way. And so these are all issues that the community can report to us and then see the follow through.
So burnt out lights at a park or in the
Yes.
bathroom. I'm just thinking of the things
Yeah.
that.
And if you guys have some ideas about what those things are, please send them to us because we can implement that. We are looking at other cities that
Yeah,
have
that's
robust
what I'm trying
systems
to
like
do.
this. And the different elements that
Okay.
they see. Every community is different. So like
Sure.
our community might have more one thing than, let's say, a comparable community. And so we want it to be based on our community's needs. And that's data we can track through time and develop it so that it fits our community's needs. But we're gonna go on like kind of a department by department basis and who handles what. But for the community, use easy language like report a pothole. They don't need to necessarily know our workflow. They just need to know, I want to report a pothole.
Yeah.
So that,
I'm kind of thinking about like in health and welfare, we have like if you have an IT problem, it's a button, you go to the main screen, you push the button, you put in what your problem is, my mouse doesn't work, or
A ticket system.
it's like a ticket, it creates like a ticket,
yeah.
like that sort of thing, and then just you guys can track what those are. Okay, I've heard about this sidewalk 19 times, like.
Yeah, we trend that. And then essentially on the one screen I showed you, that's what we see on the back end, is we basically see a ticket. We just have to develop internal policies to decide how long does that ticket sit there? And when do we follow up? You know, what's the follow-up time? And how can we make it consistent across the city for each department? So when a ticket is submitted, like we know it's gonna get an answer, at least someone call them back within X amount of days and say, how do you establish what's critical? Those types of things. So,
Right.
and those are just back end elements that we have to work on internally.
There's also a variety of things that could be reported and the ability to fix those immediately versus, on a schedule would be different. I can just think of, I went to Sunset Park and the light in the women's bathroom was burnt out. Like,
Oh, yeah.
that could be fixed next day,
Yeah.
They probably just don't, know that it's burnt out, but a major pothole situation
Could take some time.
could take some, some
It's a
time.
great tool. It's just, like I said, the icons at the beginning, that's really like, how far do we break that out by department? And, or, cause we don't wanna spend a lot of people power just distributing workloads. Like it came in, where does that go again? So we wanna really figure out, that'll be the internal work of, this is really a park. Should we have an icon just for parks issues? Or is this an ADA issue? Or, so we really have to figure that out.
Yeah, and to your note, about depending on what the issue is and maybe what that timeline is for, the pothole to be repaired or the light to be replaced. Internally, that's a part of some of those policies is how we respond to those. So we wanna give the public as much information as we can for their own expectation and to understand. We don't wanna just say, thank you for your ticket, and then they're left wondering, well, what does that mean? What's next, right? And so that's something internally as a part of our process, we can educate staff on how to respond to those. So this is the detail you provide to such a request, so that if they can have an expectation for us.
Well, and that was something that I had brought up as a concern at the last meeting, but how do you prioritize? And Eric had mentioned something about AI. Is that something that you guys are looking at, or?
We are developing policies on AI, but, I wouldn't say that it's a tool, that would take a lot of work on the back end to do our, AI would have to know a lot about our city, figure out the workflows at this point. So I think we'll get there.
Yeah.
But definitely, not yet. I think it's more about, sending the ticket down the right path to start, and then having accountability.
And if you think about it, funding is really what sets the priority, right? So let's say we launch this with a certain budget that's already been approved by council. And then let's say within the first year of the launch, we're seeing a huge trend in pothole tickets, right? And maybe there's only a certain amount of money that's been allotted that year for potholes, or however that works, right? I know it's more complicated than that. Well, then the next year, there could be a proposal that says, well, hey, we heard a lot, we got a lot of tickets about this, and so we need to we're requesting to increase the budget by this. And so a lot of those trends that Dustin is talking about, that can help us drive those priorities and different things.
And I think, oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
I think I remember Eric maybe when he spoke about a different similar idea that he was interested in, the person who's doing the reporting would get some kind of a notice.
Do you have an extra bag in your bag? Oh, you have a bag.
And
Okay.
received, and then
no, it's
another
here.
notice of like. this
Eric,
is
you're
your
not
ticket,
muted.
And so something like that might be kind of helpful as well.
Yes, we're going.
Go ahead.
Eric, Eric, you're not muted.
Well, yeah. Can't really see it too easy out of here. I'm figuring it out. Don't want that. Okay, here.
Sometimes on when people submit tickets, they can click a box whether they want follow-up or not. And
I think in this instance, we're working with the tool that we have, and we're new to it, so maybe that's something that we request to add. But with what we have, I think that's why we keep this internal team keeps talking about, we have to have some sort of policy in place if we're gonna launch this. How quick do we respond? Is there an automated respond first, so at least, it was received?
Mhm.
And then next is, hey, within 10 days, depending on the issue,
Right.
you need a follow-up. Or if it's I'm just.
Eric
giving you-
Peterson,
One second, Eric, I think Dustin was still
Eric
explaining.
Peterson.
I hear you, Eric, but I think Dustin was explaining something, so if he can finish up really quick.
Peterson,
Yes, Eric.
why are we reinventing the wheel and spending so much staff time on developing things that have already been developed? And the discussions that are being made now, we're already in the earlier Lewiston app. This appears to be a massive waste of time.
I just think the tool is useful across the city in multiple different departments for different reasons. The cost of the tool and the time implementation really, I think, outweighs the benefit of the other app. I think you're just gonna get more leverage with this tool, in my opinion. I get that we can purchase an app and put it on the app store and it's already has a purpose built for it, but this tool just offers a lot more usage across the city for multiple departments, internally and externally.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm aware of that sort of thing. Are you actually familiar at all with the My Lewiston app that we had previously on our system? If you're not very knowledgeable about this area. And you're talking about in a ticketing system and the routing, et cetera. And these are questions that have been dealt with. And I find I'm listening to someone that's like, okay, we got this system here. Let's just develop it up from there. It sounds like a waste of time for what we're dealing with, and it's already been developed, the priorities have been done, the routings have already been done, and you don't have familiarity with it is a big question in my mind. I'm done.
I do have a lot of familiarity with that app because I was part of the team that implemented it. And there was a lot of back end work. It doesn't just turn on and work. It still has a workflow to it. It still has to be routed. This is the same type of tool. It just has a lower cost, but I think it's a lot more user friendly for the city side of it, where the other one is more locked down with the company. You have to actually have them build out any new modules for it, and we can build this all internally ourselves.
You're
Dustin,
persuading
if I
me.
may ask- 1 second, Eric. If I may ask, so by having it more user friendly for the entire city, that lessens the cost because it's cost per department, correct?
Yeah. So I guess what it really is this tool will fix a lot of internal routing that we need. It also provides a citizen request option. I think the win is the cost is low. And in the age of looking for open source apps where we can do the work ourselves internally, I think this is a win. The purpose-built My Lewiston app, there was a lot of work to that, just as much. And it's just that people didn't get to see that. We did it on the back end. And then there's updates, there's cost to the app store, and there's all sorts of other issues. It's a pretty app, don't get me wrong, it does. But I think we will get there with this, but we have so many other uses that satisfy the city.
And if I might piggyback really quick, just off of what Dustin just said, something else that we look at too is trends. And are people downloading apps right now? Are people going to apps they already have or going to websites that they already visit? Or are they downloading new apps? And how much use are people getting out of those apps, right? And so we want to go where people already are, because that is the easiest way to get to them and the easiest way for them to find our tools. And so this tool this is just one element of the whole equation, but this tool allows us to come to them.
I like that. Mark?
I have a question I bet you guys haven't thought of, but I bet you it will happen. if you receive a comment, concern, complaint, whatever request, but it's not City of Lewiston, it's more in the jurisdiction of the county or the state of Idaho, because it's on their property, what will be the protocol for that? Will you have a way of forwarding that to the relevant jurisdiction, or are you just gonna send it back to the person saying, oh, that's not the city, you need to contact whoever?
It would be an educational moment for the person. So we could give them the direct contact. If we know that it's something, because it's county property, it's something the city doesn't facilitate in any way. We could work on our internal processes to have some language available for them to reply to that citizen, to that ticket and say, this is something that is managed by this division within the department, with either a link or, a name or contact or what that may be.
So the answer to my question is you would send it back to the person saying this isn't us.
I would guess that we have a lot of relationships statewide. And most of our department heads and employees have connections that may provide a link. But most likely we wouldn't be the ones forwarding it in all cases, but it would be like, hey, I actually know that person from that department, and this is how to best get in touch with them. So I imagine that you'll get a little bit of that, but I don't think I wouldn't advise our staff to forward it on.
Okay, thank you.
Eric, did you still have something?
What did you just say? I got a bowling alley to my right.
Oh, but you were saying something earlier.
I said you're starting to convince me.
That is good to hear.
Well, if we have no further questions.
Do you want to skedaddle?
No, I'm happy to answer them all day long.
How about timetable?
Yeah,
Where do
that's-
you think this might?
And I gave you a really open timetable at the beginning. I mean, we are really in that stage of, you saw what we have, that's what we have right now. We are just learning to build these out. So timetable, I don't know if I can give you a real timetable. We have acquired the tool, we went through the training, we have actually used it in a test environment. So now it's who goes first in the city, what department, and how do we build that workflow and that policy? I think we could develop it very quick, but it's just, it's a meeting with a group. How do you want to do this? Let's throw a policy together. And so it's, you're looking at an implementation of a general department is going to take probably 2 months per department.
Oh, wow.
That would be my guess, to make sure it's done right.
Yeah.
Okay. One, do you have a beta system so we can actually sign on to something and see what's going on? Yes
I'm
or
not sure
no?
that I caught all of that, but
Beta.
as far as a beta system, we actually we just did internal testing. We use that for? Okay, we used it for a Parks and Rec survey that is out right now about Burt Lips Pool.
had
And
it.
yeah, so please get on there and test that and fill out that survey.
It won't look
Already did it.
exactly like that. That's the tool.
That's just that we're using the tool, not in the same manner, but we're watching the responses come in and seeing how the app handles that and how easy it is to use and how the departments respond.
Number two, since the Disability Advisory Committee has been the one behind this for several years, my request is that you comply and deal with the disability issues for the sidewalks, et cetera, that were on the pass system as a priority first. If you don't, I'll make the request to council.
Eric, I think you weren't on the call earlier, but there will be specific sections and one will be ADA compliance.
So.
It should be number one, thank you.
And if I could add.
Is it number one or not? There's an answer, yes or no to that question.
Eric, somebody's trying to speak to your question, but you keep speaking over them.
Okay, I can't see them, I'm in the sun.
That's.
Answer yes or no.
Yes, ADA needs are definitely top priority. So we
Definitely it's
actually, you
not
guys,
top.
Eric, she's trying to speak to your question, but you were speaking over her.
if you would like to finish.
It's you speaking over her.
There might be a delay, so we're gonna give it
I
5
didn't
seconds.
hear anything. I didn't hear anybody saying anything.
Okay, so ADA concerns, needs, that is a huge and very much a top priority. So you guys are a working commission, you advise the council, right? And so as a part of this process, we actually need something from all of you. In fact, if it's possible, by your next meeting, Dustin and I would love to have a list from you all about what you think the top ADA tickets might be. And that will help us with our development, so.
Eric Peterson,
Eric,
my suggestion is you check out the application that I've sent list to for DC 311. You look at the streets and whatever, and you look at the prioritization list or the list of devices they already have. So why go back to the step that you're asking for us to generate it? Because I'm just going to go in, print pages of that, and give it to you. If you would like me to assist in this process, I'd be happy to. But don't waste our time.
Eric, I'm under the impression that this
Okay.
program is going to be cheaper for the city and more widely used. I understand your concern about ADA being top priority. I think we all do. This is the Disability Advisory Commission. But they have other things to think about.
Okay, I'm going to butt in. I just said they asked us to generate a list collectively for the next month. I can go to Dustin when I get back in a week, give
I
him
don't
a
think
whole
they're asking
list.
about specifics, Eric. They're saying like, we want to look at sidewalks.
Actually, they are asking for specifics.
You can print it off, that sounds great.
I shall do it alone. Like I said, if we're not number one in there, I'll go to council and say, what the heck? So I'm done.
Eric, Dustin Spooner. So I'm very familiar with how to do research in ADA, and if I were going to develop this app with no input from your group and this group here, I could probably come up with something by going on the internet and searching or using AI and easily coming up with my own.
Oh my God. Are you not listening?
I'm asking for input from the group is all I'm
Oh my
asking.
God. Are you not
Eric.
listening?
Eric, be respectful.
Okay, be responsible, and you're telling me with what you're saying that you really don't know anything about this area at all. That's what I'm hearing.
Just moving on. Did you?
Mike,
Yeah, Mike Feeney. I think, under the heading of reporting, is this mainly citizen reporting that is being done with this?
That's why we acquired the tool. We just found that also internally, it meets a bunch of needs that we have internally.
Yeah. Well, is there a mechanism like a tick box that they can check if there are ADA aspects to this question? If there isn't, I think there should be, something that would draw your attention to that and make you realize that it needs to come to, we need to be consulted as a group, the ADA group.
I think, we could probably build that out, but my initial thought was we would have a tile or a specific button or tile for ADA issues, so it would
No,
automatically.
God, this is getting so bad. Nikki,
Eric.
can you take the ADA presentation that I did the last time and ship it to them? This is just getting worse.
Can I ask you why you think that?
Maybe because I'm the only person here with extensive experience with this arena, and everything I'm hearing is so far, it's like 10 or 15 years ago. It's not part of the initial development that we should be, it should already be in their minds. It should already be part of a plan. It's readily available. I'm frankly shocked at that you're going open source without even a handle of what you're actually dealing with.
That's why he asked for our input.
Why would we be the experts on it? The only one here that I know of that's close to actually knowing it as an end user is me. Everything else I'm hearing is 15 years ago.
I think that it's very relevant and it's a very generalized form. It's a button you
I'm
push.
going to the council with what I'm saying.
And you'll do that as an individual, correct?
I'll do that as an individual saying I presented these same topics at a Disability Advisory Commission meeting as a member of that committee.
For the rest of the commission, if you have something that is on your mind and maybe has or hasn't been discussed that you would like to send to staff to be incorporated, please do. Otherwise, we'll come back to you with the product and share that with you.
Mark.
Might I suggest, Eric, that you watch the recording of this meeting because you did miss the first part of it or the presentation.
Ed, I shall, but I'm hearing enough that I'm like going, oh my God, I cannot believe this.
It might just be a matter of different words or different
No.
communication.
I think you're missing
It is
out on a
not.
little bit of context, Eric.
No,
And this
I'm
may-
not. I think you don't have the context.
And this may be hopelessly simplistic, but if you're gonna have tiles of different sectors, I think
That's a
ADA,
waste of time.
I think
Why would-
ADA. I think ADA would fall
Eric,
first.
Mark is trying to speak.
I feel stupid saying this, but I think ADA would fall first just alphabetically.
Sure.
If you're going to place them alphabetically. So that.
How
just
about
takes-
streets, sidewalks, bushes, whatever, it's all related. You've got a situation where a sidewalk has a bush growing halfway over it. Where's it gonna show up in? Probably streets, sidewalks. Do you go into there? Yes, it has an ADA component. If you ask people to make an ADA decision, few of them even know what the heck the ADA is. So beginning tile is ADA, you can have it in there, but that's pushing everything on to the consumer, the user, and not knowing that they really don't know that. They're just looking, I got a broken sidewalk here. I got a street light out. It's like, it's starting from the top as, here's your ADA tile, great, put in specific things there, but it's gonna surface in the other areas. It's gonna be a hierarchy. Those hierarchies have already been done many times.
But I could see that as being fluid with the process.
Right.
If somebody selected streets.
Yeah.
And it is an ADA issue, then internally the process would like initiate who then handles that situation. It could be ADA, but it's streets who's handling it. You know what
Now
I mean?
that's sounding reasonable.
So to me, it's just kind of part of that process that you build internally to find the solution. And I would just say, I'll put in my 2 cents, that I think technology is kind of fluid. Like you have a product that you're purchasing and building, but then you start using it. And then I think you start to get feedback in that user.
Yeah.
And then start to develop it more towards the needs and the feedback that you get.
And that's what we talked about at the beginning of the
You
meeting.
look at existing products that have this structure as a starting point. I've not heard anyone say anything about that.
Yeah.
Eric, Carol was just speaking to that.
I heard her
Yeah.
Then why did you interrupt?
because I knew where she was going.
How about the rest of us didn't? So if she could finish her thought, that would be fantastic.
So it's up to the commission how involved you want to be in this process. If you don't want to be involved at all, that's your call. But it was our perception that this commission has an important role to be a part of the input of how this goes through every phase. The development phase, which is where we're at right now, the implementation phase, which is what's next, and moving forward as the commission approaches council for funding and advice. But that is completely up to the commission.
And I think if you're gonna be
Eric Peterson,
1 second, Eric, Nikki was talking.
I was just gonna say, I think if you're gonna be collaborative, you know, you gotta throw all the ideas on the table. I mean, we can't say one's gonna work or not work. I mean, you throw them on the table and you see what works best for the entity.
Yeah,
I would also add that ADA is not just physical access, but also there's cognitive things that we need to address. So having anybody that is at the forefront as a end user doesn't need to be limited to one type of disability. And as a council member, I will be seeking out input from more than one demographic or subsect of the disability community. So let's be very clear on that as well.
Eric?
okay, welcome to input, exactly as you're asking for. And I'm driving it you to a much later stage. And as for, it's like, this is a partnership between city staff and the citizens of Lewiston. And it's a tool to have all sorts of communication. The ADA, the student things and everything else are all part of it. And a very important part from our perspective, I have over 300 things that I can actually report at this moment. I haven't because it's too damn difficult, no input back, nothing like what I'm used to in responsiveness. So input is, don't start at square one with your communication. Go and look at other models, including the model that you had on the formatting of it. And we got a hell of a head start versus, you give us your thoughts. And an ADA tile. That to me is 15 years, 10 years behind. I'm done.
Any other questions or comments?
This isn't on your agenda, but if the commission is ready to move on from the subject, Public Works Director Dustin Johnson couldn't be here today, but wanted me to share with the group that the ADA transition plan will be coming to you most likely next month. So be on the lookout for that.
And that's a plan that they bring forward every year for you guys to review, just as like a
Yes,
reminder.
yeah.
All right,
Oh, I'm sorry.
I know.
For a minute.
Well, future agenda items.
No, no.
Oh, no, yeah,
Meeting minutes.
meeting minutes from June 13th. Mark,
Yes, what?
you approve the minutes?
Did you want to see a copy of those too?
No, I read them and I was fine with them.
No, I don't have any suggestions.
That's a good idea.
Move that we approve the minutes.
Any other discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed?
Could I ask for future minutes that you, Constance is not identified anywhere in the minutes as the chair.
I am.
I usually try to
Where?
Okay.
Not that you called the meeting to order, not in the attendance.
Well, it's Chairman Vance.
Oh, well, that's down in the text, I guess so. Okay. I was just thinking like call to order or in the attending.
Print that out.
Who the, yeah,
Hang it up on
officers
the
were. All right, thank you.
Now we go to the future agenda items.
So it sounds like next month we'll have the 88. Okay.
So Dustin will be here.
Yes,
If that's,
you will.
I think that'll take a good chunk of the time. Commissioner comments?
Your term is up too.
No,
She
got
got
approved. Thank you,
reappointed.
Mayor.
She got reappointed.
Not Hannah, but thank you, Mayor.
Mark, did you get my email with the application? Okay.
Mike King, several of us missed the meeting notice. I know that we know that it's the second Thursday. But you know, I used to get an email saying that the meeting is coming up on Thursday at noon. And here's the agenda for the meeting. I didn't get anything like that this time, and I talked to Nikki yesterday, and she said that there's a new system where you have to actually go to the city's website to find that out. No,
No, you get an email when an agenda's been created, and then you get an email when it's posted. And
It's
so
not like
there's
do
a
not
link.
reply, or
Yeah, there's a link that you click on, and that link
I
takes you to
never
the
got that.
agenda.
I never
no
got
reply,
until yesterday.
that's what it's called.
And so I don't know if it's going to your spam or junk box.
And it
I got
doesn't
it
come
from-
from Nikki.
Yeah, it doesn't come from Nikki, it comes from a civic clerk program.
Okay, I got it from someone yesterday.
Yeah, I forwarded it to you.
Yeah,
Mhm.
so how come I didn't get it from?
Eric
Either-
Peterson,
Eric,
it sounds like a glitch in a transition period. I didn't get one either.
are you guys checking your spam mail?
Cause we've had this in place for, you know.
Never gone there before.
9 months or so,
It's
maybe
been a
even
few
longer.
I've never had to
I
check
get
my
it.
spam mail.
Huh?
I get 'em.
Yeah,
I get them.
And I get 'em,
It
so I
says
don't
no
know.
reply on it. So it doesn't show that it's from the city of Lewiston, it just says no reply. That's who it's from.
No reply at civicplus.com.
Well, I just, you know, if there's a new system, but I think the old system was working fine.
I don't know that I call it that new anymore.
It's not
yeah, that's what I'm
that
saying,
new.
it's not, it's a new system that we've implemented in the last year, but it's been quite a while.
Oh.
Like I'd say 9 months, maybe even longer.
Yeah,
Sounds
I mean,
pretty
that's
good.
really the question. Have you been getting them up until
Yeah.
this July meeting?
Yeah.
Okay, well, nothing has changed, right? So it
Mhm.
must have just been a glitch or something.
Yeah, we have a DAC list within Civic Clerk and all of you are on it.
Mhm.
And so it's had embedded your email address, and so that's what it's sending off of, as we're selecting the DAC.
Yeah, he
Commission.
confirmed yesterday that you had my
Yeah.
contact address. Did you have a comment, Eric? I heard a
I'm just checking because I didn't get it and I haven't ever go to spam before. So I'm just kind of quick checking my spam because I searched for Nikki and everything else and I didn't have anything for this month. I have in the past. I do not see it with a do not reply comment. I don't see it in spam. So I didn't get it.
Yeah, this month's came out, July 3rd, 11:46. So,
Okay,
and
July
then the
3rd.
minutes, and then the
July
minutes
3rd.
come out subsequent, or a different time.
Yeah, so you'll get one for minutes too.
July 3rd. July 3rd. At what time did you send it out?
11:46.
Okay, I'm almost to July. There's July 4th, July 3rd. If I have it, I'll tell you. Still on July 3rd. None of a bit. I got it. I did
You
get
did
it.
get it?
I did get it. That's my error, but now we know. Okay,
as long as we're confessing, I got it too. Sorry.
Mystery solved.
Okay, so it works fine.
Yes, and your minutes will be
Good.
the exact same thing.
the same.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
post them to the program under Disability Advisory Commission. And then it will send you automatically a notification.
Yeah.
Yep. So,
and don't search for Nikki, search for do not reply.
No reply,
Yeah.
Oh, no, we're,
like the
yeah.
Beatles song.
I just searched.
Okay.
Any other commissioner comments?
I'm sorry.
No, it was a good point.
That liaison. Are you sure?
All right.
All
Yeah,
right.
I think that's what happened. I was searching for Nikki
Yeah.
and I didn't find it.
Where you going?
That's what I used to too.
Yeah,
Well, it might be slightly
Over there.
confusing.
I'll just
Might
go
get
over
two
there.
notices, if
In
it
my
might-
shade.
maybe it's only me and you that get them. But when it's created, and then when it's.
No,
Oh,
just the one.
Just the one, okay.
Yeah, we get.
Okay, yeah, we get double, so, okay.
All right, meeting adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Yes.
for coming.
So much
Appreciate it.
for your patience.
You golfing today?
Looks like you're not standing.
I got it.
Appreciate it.